Welcome to the Genealogy Happy Hour, a place where new family historians can learn to document their family histories and celebrate their new discoveries. I'm Amy.
And I'm Penny, and we're here to help you discover your family tree from the beginning. Welcome to episode 75. Today, we're going to use YDNA to chip away at a brick wall. But before we get into that, Amy, as always, do we have a wine?
Of course we have wine. Today, we are featuring Magic Box Sauvignon Blanc. This is a Sauvignon Blanc from France, and it is a pale yellow in color with expressive floral, plant, and woody notes with exotic fruits. And it has a expressive finish with a slight return of the exotic fruit and floral zest. So I like it. It's a little, tangy?
I think it was a little tart for me.
There you go. That's the word. It was a little tart for you, but it's florally, it's appley, it's really fresh. I enjoy it, but I do enjoy a tart white wine. So anyway, a white wine from France today.
Fantastic. Love your choice.
Thank you.
And also today, we are so excited to say...
Today's episode is sponsored by newspapers.com. Break down genealogy brick walls with a subscription to the largest online newspaper archive. Did your ancestor disappear from vital records? Maybe they moved or got married. Newspapers.com can help you find them and tell their story.
Or have you ever had trouble figuring out how people tie into your family tree? Newspapers are filled with birth notices, marriage announcements, and obituaries. Items like these are a great resource for determining family relationships. On newspapers.com, you can explore more than 800 million newspaper pages from across the US, UK, Canada, and beyond in just seconds. Their easy-to-use search feature lets you filter your results by date, location, a specific paper, and more.
When you find something interesting, the newspapers.com clipping tool makes it a snap to share it with friends and family. You can even save it directly to your ancestry tree. For listeners of this podcast, newspapers.com is offering new subscribers 20% off a Publisher Extra subscription so you can start exploring today. Just use the code HAPPYHOUR at checkout.
Okay, Amy, so let's get into this story.
It's a story?
Well, it kind of is a story.
Tell me the story.
All right. So every once in a while, I pop on to Family Tree DNA to see if there is a YDNA match for my dad and the Burke line.
No, not the Burkes in
I
Ohio.
was going to say, I don't want to hear any cringing out there over the Burke line. Because I've got some updates, okay?
Okay,
so
all right.
Things are looking good.
I'm excited. All right.
Okay, so
Tell us more.
Since I have uploaded this YDNA 8 years ago, there has been 0 matches on any level until now. And this time when I logged in, there was 1 match. One single match. But I'm telling you, after 8 years, do you know how excited I was?
I bet.
Was like,
you were super excited.
This is it. This is going to lead me to my connection. This person had listed, had their tree up there, which is...
That's helpful.
So helpful. And I spent the better part of 3 days researching the people in this tree just to confirm for myself with some documents and authenticity of the tree. And then I emailed this person and we chatted a bit back and forth about this tree. The next step I did was I created a tree on Ancestry and I made it private since it was just a research tree, just for me putting things up. I'd be adding things, taking things away. You know, it's going to be a mess. So I didn't want anybody else to see that tree and say, oh, look, here's this family, because it...
And you can do that on Ancestry. You can take under privacy settings. You can go and say you want your tree private, and then you can also click on the very bottom. There's another little box to click off, and then if you click on that one, it says no one can see your tree, so it can't even be found in tree searches. So
right.
That's always nice if you're, like you said, working on something and you're not sure you're in the going the right direction or not.
You're just playing around. Yeah. So that's what I did there. So this Burke line started in one state with the person that I made a connection to. I'm not going to mention anything about people or that state. I'm going to go back quite a few generations to where I think we landed. And so I'm looking at a Burke family in Indiana. And my Burke line is from Ohio. So we're close on location.
Right.
Totally could have moved to Indiana. Could have moved anywhere, but, you know.
And your Burkes are on the western side of Ohio, aren't they? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If I remember driving through Ohio correctly with you.
Yes. That wonderful trip we took through Ohio. So I'm going to start with this ancestor living in Indiana whose name is Isaac Burke, who's born in 1825. And he and his wife, Samantha Enyart, and their children are all living together in the town of Chester, Wabash County, Indiana. And Isaac, who was born in Ohio per census, and Samantha, his wife, were married in about 1847 and listed with 2 children in the 1850 census in the town of Chester. And in 1850, Isaac would have been about 25, so I'm not going to find him in the 1840 census unless he was in a rooming house or a farmhand or something like that.
He'd been too young. He'd been still at home with his family.
Right. And he's also not in the 1960 census, or at least I haven't found him there.
1860.
Yes, good Lord. Let's just jump ahead 100 years, right? 1860. On Ancestry, there's records for a Union soldier named Isaac Burke, so I quickly jumped over to Fold 3 to look for further research and found a widow's pension filed by Samantha.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Isaac had died in 1864 in a battle in Tennessee, and the file listed her children and the dates they would reach the age of 16. And there was a son named Michael listed there, as well as 2 children that were listed in that 1850 census. So I felt pretty sure this is the right family, and she was awarded $8 a month.
Now, would Michael have been too young to be in that 1850 census with him? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So at this point, I want to point out a great way to search on the Family Search website for someone or a last name in a particular census year. And this is what I wanted to find out, if there were any Burkes living in Chester, Wabash County, Indiana in 1840. So on Family Search, I click search at the top, as we all do, and then records, as we all do. But instead of putting a name and information over on the right side, if you scroll down, you'll see a box that says Browse All Collections. And there is also one that says Browse Places. In this case, I used Browse All Collections, and I put in the 1840 census and it listed a list populated of all the options. So depending on what year you put in, you could get a huge list of things. But in this case, I just got 2. And when you click on your choice, and I clicked the census for the United States, a new box opens, and you can put in the first and last name and the place in the year. So I put in the last name, Burke, because I just wanted to see what other Burkes are there. Chester, Wabash, Indiana, and one name popped up, Michael Burke. Okay, so could that be the son that was listed? But no, he's older, so it's a good possibility for maybe Isaac's father being in the right location. And Isaac had the son named Michael. Mm-hmm. Makes sense. You'd name a kid after your dad.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it's just a guess at this time.
Right, sure.
Yeah, I'm still working on that. So I've pretty much confirmed this family in Chester, with Isaac being born in Ohio, dying in Tennessee in the Civil War, Michael Burke being the father, possibly. It's going to be difficult without further documents to determine if Michael Burke is the father, and if so, where did he come from? At some point, Michael, if he is the father, lived in Ohio, as Isaac was born in Ohio. But was he passing through? Did he originate from somewhere else? There's several trees on Ancestry that have this line, including Michael Burke, continuing back through South Carolina, of all places, and Virginia, which we plan on going to for research.
We do.
We do. That end with a James Burke, who was in the Revolutionary War. But of course, they do not have documentation to prove this. It's some census records and whatnot, but
nothing that can really prove kinship.
Right. And again, I know people on Ancestry, and myself included, I might have these documents to prove my things, but I'm not always posting everything on Ancestry because I have a tree on Roots Magic where I keep all my documentation.
Agreed.
And I'm just using
too.
Ancestry for research. So
not all your documents are on your ancestry tree. They're in your files. So true.
So we want to contact these people. So I've reached out on Ancestry to several people who have some trees that have Isaac and Michael in their tree. And one person replied and was extremely helpful and connected me with another descendant who also provided a good deal of information where she had done a lot of research and her family had done a lot of research and with land records and deeds and whatnot that I haven't even gotten to yet on this side of the family, which all kind of makes sense. So according to this new information, Michael, the father of Isaac, if we're going to say that, had 4 brothers.
Is this according to the tree?
This is according to my new contact.
This is information she shared with you.
She shared with me, yes, that she had that was... no, she does not have a tree on Ancestry. Well, maybe she does, but I haven't located her. But so he had 4 brothers, Isaac, Abraham, James, and Robert. So one of these brothers could be the father of my John Jr.'s John. Again, documentation is key.
And that's what I was wanting to ask you. This Isaac Burke, who was living in Wabash County, Indiana.
Yeah.
And you had a John Burke who was living in Western Ohio.
Right.
They would be about the same age, or they could be siblings or cousins, is what you're thinking.
Something like that. Yes. Yes. Because what I'm hoping is that one of Isaac's uncles is maybe the father of John, who is the father of my John Jr.
Right.
That I have document being born at 1833.
And you know that your John had, 3 siblings, if I remember correctly?
Had 3 siblings, okay. James.
And they stayed together. They were like a group, right, in the census?
Yes. Well, in one census, they're all together.
They're in their early 20s, if I remember correctly. Okay.
Early 20s in the 1860 census in Crawford Township, Wyandotte County, Ohio. Right. No idea what happens to Elizabeth.
Right. They had there's 1 daughter and 3 boys?
3 boys, yeah.
Right. And you did DNA connect to one of those boys, right?
Yes.
Going forward. So you know that that's kind of your right family.
Yes.
So you're thinking that this guy could be their cousin.
Yeah. Somewhere.
That's where you want.
It's just making that connection. But I never had this tree before or this family.
Okay.
But one interesting thing I found while doing this research, again, shiny objects. Woohoo! Look here.
It happens in genealogy all the time.
All the time. There's an Isaac Burke living in none other than Crawford Township, Wyandotte County, Ohio, where my John Burke was living in 1860. And I really wanted this Isaac Burke to be the one from the other line, but it's not. It's a different Isaac because it's the same time period. They're in 2 different places. But it doesn't mean he's not related somehow. And again,
does the John Burke in the Isaac Burke in Wyandotte County have a different family group?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm just trying to make this make this connection.
He could be another he could be another cousin though.
Could be. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
And also, I went through that census the same way I described earlier on Family Search, and I found an Abraham Burke living in Crawford Township. Now, there's also an Abraham Burke. Hold on. Let's see. The same way. This Abraham Burke is living a few houses away from Isaac in the 1850. Gosh, can I not stop saying 1950? Where are we? The 1850 census. But there's also an Abraham Burke being the brother of Michael, but he would be older, back in earlier somewhere.
Okay. So you're Isaac Burke
living in Ohio.
You're Isaac Burke in Wabash County, Indiana, who has the son Michael, also had a son Abraham?
No, I'm talking about the father Michael had a brother.
Okay.
Abraham.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of, guess what? I'm going to have a huge chart on my wall trying to plot all this out so I can see it, because there's so many repetitive names and the dates are
I think
close
that's a
together.
great idea.
So,
Get your Post-it notes with all of these people and their birth and death dates, and start plotting them out on the wall.
Get my mind map out, put it on Kaggle, the whole thing.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'll be digging a little deeper into the town, the surrounding town, seeing what Burkes are living all around. I'm going to keep in contact with my new best friend on in genealogy on the Burke family, to see how we can work this out and do some deeper digging and find maybe where this connection lies. So I feel like I'm one step closer. I feel like I'm one step closer to going farther back in my Burke line.
Right. Now you have the DNA connection.
I have a DNA connection.
So you know that. So have you asked them to share their documents? Because
I did.
Now they just have census records, right?
That's my DNA connection said they have some documents. I haven't seen those yet. I haven't seen the documents from the other person, but that person has shared a great deal of information.
So, okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
So, so I think I'm on the right track. Just got to nail some things down. And on the YDNA, it was four steps, I think is what it said. So I'm thinking 4 generations out. But I have to double check on that. Don't anybody quote me on that one.
Have you because this was in family tree DNA, right? The YDNA, right?
Yeah.
Are there Burke projects in the YDNA?
There are Burke projects in the YDNA, okay. And I am part of those. Mm-hmm. My dad's test is a straight up YDNA, so that's different than the autosomal tests.
Right.
I did the autosomal, so I'm in that.
But there's no YDNA group for Burkes?
I don't think so. Actually, I'm not really sure. I'll have to look into that.
Because I know that I did that for both of my boys.
A YDNA?
The YDNA group. That's the one where my older son is in that group, because my younger son is adopted. So he's in his group for his biological family. But I was able to put my son in one of the groups with his YDNA, and they actually bumped him up. The group actually paid for him to have the big Y done.
Nice.
And so because they were making progress in their group, and they've actually been able to take us back, because the farthest ancestor I can get back was a pulper in the 1850 census in rural Kentucky. And so he was a pulper, I don't know. And every census says, once he says he's born in Ohio, he says he's born in Virginia, all over the place. So that's why I put my son in that. And they were able to link him up to other people in that group and then take them back a couple more generations. So
were his connections in the group different than his matches in his YDNA?
No.
They were the same?
Yes.
They would be the same. So I only have the one match. So that's what I'm wondering, like, would the YDNA I have match? Well, it shouldn't match. We need to do more research.
We
on
do
that.
Because I know they were able to take my son's DNA, and the surname is Lay, and they were able to sort them all out so that you've got the green group of Lays, which my son is in, the pink group, and the pink group, I think they're all from like Paducah, Kentucky area. Mm-hmm. The green group are from going back to what.
Okay.
Yeah, so your Burke, your dad's Burke would, and this other person might be in that one little Burke line that nobody can find. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll have to double check that. But when I go into the site, I don't get any notices, or when I go into the groups, I don't get notifications or anything. So
look and see if you can add him to, if there is a Burke
YDNA.
YDNA group,
Check it out.
I don't know. I mean, they could be those outliers again, because they take the Lay surname going through Kentucky, North Carolina, and Virginia, and they sort them out by all of the little. Oh no!
I'm so glad there are people that do this.
I am not a DNA person at all. So,
as we have said many times before.
But anyway, they have all sorted them out, and then they start matching them up and comparing their snippets or whatever those things are called, and they have sorted my son into one, and it has given us probably 2 generations back. We still don't have the immigrant ancestor, but we are back into the Virginia, almost colonial period. So,
all right, So just like you all might be doing some DNA research, I will be doing some more as well, and I will keep you posted on to what I find.
That is really good. So you made some progress on your births finally.
I did.
I was also interested on the search feature that you used in FamilySearch.org. Mm-hmm. I was not aware of the options down there at the bottom that you could just drill into searching by, what was it, location is what you were doing.
Yeah,
right?
well, this was, what did I say it was? I don't even remember now. But you can put in like specific years, just random year. Like if you wanted to know what records are in 1836 for Ohio, you would put that in, and then a list will populate of all the records that are available to you for that year. That you might find something out specific, rather than just the place. Because I think when you go to browse place, that was browse collection. When you go to browse place, it opens up that page again where you have the map, and you just kind of zero in on whatever state you're looking at, and whatever county, that kind of thing. But this browse collection will populate a list right there for whatever you put in of the collection that you're looking for. Yeah. So I found that to be super helpful, narrowing in on a census year, and you want to find whatever family. So in West Virginia, I've got these Stevens family, and so I might drill in to a certain county in a certain year and just look for Stevens and see what names come up. And then again, that might be a family, an extended family that I now need to go research a little more heavily to see how they're related to my Stevens family.
Possibly a part of the fan club for your ancestors. So interesting. I'm gonna try that. I'm excited about that. I have not done that. I do like the catalog feature in FamilySearch.org, but since they changed up the search, like the general search records, I've not been so liking it. So this might help me sort out, use the new style that they've got going on, the new search in FamilySearch.org. So that's cool. Yeah. The other thing I was going to ask you on your Isaacs, you didn't mention it, so I'm assuming you haven't gotten to there yet, but looking for probate records to see if you can kind of make those kinship connections through probate.
Yeah, definitely looking for probates. I found a couple wills with names, Michael Burke, but this Michael is married to a Minerva, and the children are different. Even though he's in the county, this Michael is the right age. He's kind of in the county, not Wabash, but another county in Indiana. Different names for kids.
Oh, the other thing I was going to mention is, and since, newspapers.com is sponsoring us, is I was looking for somebody who had died in Indiana. This was around 1905, and for some reason his death is not in the Indiana death records, which are online, and those death certificates are all available. He was not in there for some reason, and I ended up finding his probate was not in the county where we thought he was living at the time that he died, or we know that he was living at the time that he died. And I used newspapers searching his name in that area, and actually there was a probate. There was a little notice in the paper, publishing to let the heirs know, or let the community know that his estate was being probated. And it was from that newspaper that I was then able to find which county, which was like the county over or something, that's where his probate was. So,
nice. Yeah, I haven't seen anything in newspaper. I did search newspapers using newspapers.com, but no, I haven't. Yeah. I haven't seen anything like that. Yeah. That would have been amazing.
Especially if people live on the county line. Sometimes, that county seat next to them is closer than the one that is actually in their county.
I will say, in all this research, there is a Michael Burke that could be the father again of Isaac, at one time living in Ohio, in Pike County, which is straight down. Yeah, it's straight down from Wyandotte, a few counties away. And the town is PP Township.
Really?
Yeah. I thought that was interesting.
All right.
Just throwing that out there.
Did not know that there was a township named
sure that. Is.
But, Indiana, going from Ohio to Indiana, that's kind of a normal migration for people moving west. So I know a lot of my people who were in Ohio ended up going to Indiana.
Yeah.
If they just kept on moving, or Michigan and Illinois. So
I have several recent relatives that migrated to Indiana from Ohio.
From Ohio.
Yeah.
All right. So your next steps are to continue to communicate with your new DNA match.
Yep.
See what kind of documents you guys can share together, and then check out the probate records from the county courthouses in all of those areas to see if you can get
I'm really hoping we can connect back to this Virginia Burke, because we plan on going to Virginia for some research.
True.
So if I can make that connection before we go, then I'll have a whole nother line to be researching when we get there.
When you break completely through this Burke brick wall, we are going to have some expensive champagne featured on our podcast. But I'm not going to buy it now because I don't know when that's going to happen.
Don't do it.
All right. So until next time. Cheers. Thank you for listening. Please email us with any questions or comments at genealogyhappyhour@gmail.com.
Visit our website, www.genealogyhappyhour.com, for additional resources, books, and wines. Don't forget to drink responsibly
and never drink around genealogical documents.